Welcome.
Waka, 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 waka.
Welcome back to another exciting edition, or episode edition. I don't know what I'm talking about.
don't
Welcome
either.
back to another episode of A Guide to Poor Parenting. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm blowing out my microphone at the moment. I'm turning it down a tad. So to our four listeners, sorry if the audio is a little off. But welcome back to another episode of A Guide to Poor Parenting, a podcast where me, Jason,
And me, Jennifer.
have a few drinks.
And talk shit about our kids.
Please follow us on Instagram at Guide to Poor Parenting and Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok now at Poor Parent Pod.
Woohoo!
We're starting to put out
Content.
yes, digital content.
Unfortunately, I have to be on video.
Oh, you do great with it. We're just trying to do our cocktail reviews. We're doing
Right.
and going through that god awful Costco wine advent calendar that we got for Christmas.
Yep.
Although our friends Luis and Griffin were telling them how much they like theirs, and I was just like, I don't think
Maybe this one will be better.
maybe, although I just think it just speaks poorly of their taste. But just kidding. I'm teasing Griffin and Luis if you hear that.
They're not listening to
I know.
this.
They don't give a shit about kids. All right. Well, Miss Jennifer, are
Mm-hmm.
you excited? We have a guest this episode. We have Miss Mollie. Mollie, I don't know your last name. Do you want to keep it off the podcast?
No,
or
it's fine.
what is it? Do you want to say it?
Holder.
Mollie Holder. You and I actually started volunteering, or I started volunteering with you at Shenanigans. That's where like half of the guests for the podcast come from. And I think you and I volunteered together twice now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And then you actually roped me into helping with the kind of the automation process. We're trying to help Kim with that. And then when you arrived, we found out that you actually know Jennifer from a long time ago. So,
Yep.
Miss Jennifer, how do you know Miss Mollie?
I know Miss Mollie for Mr. Holder, her ex-husband. We all used to hang out 20 years
Forever
ago.
Yeah.
Well, if baby girl just graduated, then
He's
that's
16
16, 17, yeah. So, because she was just itty bitty toddler one last time I saw her. I mean, I see pictures on Facebook, but that's not the same.
He's not
but
good at posting stuff.
I mean, it's every once in a while, but this is about me. I don't post much either. I post for memory purposes only, so that I can look back and be like, oh wow, 3 years ago we did this. You remember that? Because I don't.
Well, do you remember how y'all met? Was it through Eric?
It was through
James.
James. Okay.
Yeah.
I say Eric, but that's not the right name.
Nope.
How did you meet James? You didn't go to high school with him, did you?
No, James went to Johnson, and he had already graduated because he is a little older than I am. I like to hang out with older guys, but there's a place in Huntsville that we used to go to pretty much like almost every fucking night. It's called JMO's.
Still here?
It's still here, and we would go, and they have a deck area, so we would drink shakes or coffee and eat Mediterranean food and smoke and talk and just have a good old time. And that's where I met James.
Was he working there when you met him?
I can't remember because it's so long ago.
Oh, okay.
But
Did he work there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Miss Mollie, thank you for coming on the podcast. It's been a
Yay.
long time coming. I actually think we talked about this probably 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want you to come on, but like Jennifer and we've got 3 different authors that want to come, or 2 different authors that have asked if they could come on the podcast. Well, no, 3 actually. All 3 of them asked, and I've been like, can you wait till like we start its 4th season, because I gotta figure out like how to do video chats and all that stuff and record it. So I was like, had a lot going on the last couple of months with the podcast. So I'm so glad you finally made it.
Yeah, me too.
So what are we drinking today, Miss Mollie?
We are drinking a Lindeman's Framboise, which is a raspberry lambic beer with rich, sweet raspberry flavor and character.
Yes, it does not taste like beer.
nope.
No, it doesn't. It tastes really good.
Yeah, I would say it tastes more like I wouldn't say Kool-Aid, but I don't know how to describe that flavor.
It's not. I don't think it's that sweet. It's
tart.
It's
like
kind of jammy. Like if jam was not hard.
It's like a tart wine cooler. Like not an overly sugary sweet, but like that kind of
Yeah.
note to it.
Yeah, I just feel like the raspberry jam just got left out a long time and it turned liquidy.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what it kind
They
of.
didn't add the pectin.
Yeah, it just kind of. That's what it kind of tastes like to me. I like it.
Yeah. I got introduced to this stuff at the Nook about 10 years ago when we used to go, and a friend of ours ordered one. I was like, oh, can I try that? And it was good. It was very sweet. It was like, but it's not, when I asked Molly to come on, I was like, what do you like to drink? She's like, oh, I love a good Moscato. I was like, oh, I don't know if I can drink that. It's so sweet. Like last time, it's like a white Zinfandel to me. It's just so sweet. It's almost like to the point where I can't, it would make my stomach turn. Mm-hmm. So I was like, let me see if I can find something we all like. Because I knew Jennifer liked the Lambics. And I was like, I bet Molly would like the Lambics. So
Yeah, and I found the Lambic because of the Nook as well. Because we would go to the Nook, and I don't drink beer. And back in the day, they were just a beer establishment. So they didn't have the whiskeys or the liquor like they do now. And I'm like, what the fuck am I going to drink? And then someone was like, well, I know it says beer on the bottle, but this is not really a beer. And I'm like, okay, I'll try it. And I was like, that's what I'm going to get.
And for our 4 listeners, if you hear anybody in the background, that's Miss Tara. She's sitting in the podcast throwing up peanuts from the peanut gallery. So feel free to shout out things, Tara.
I blame my daughter on my taste in wine these days. I used to drink like a good full-bodied red or some beer, and then I got pregnant and didn't drink for like 14 years. And
14 years?
Yeah, I didn't drink when she was a small kid. I was terrified I would not catch her in time or something. So when I started drinking again, my taste, I didn't have the taste for wine and I didn't feel like developing it. I was just kind of lazy. So I just drank sweet white wines, cheap $6 red Moscato by Barefoot. I'm a cheap drunk.
Hey?
Now, Tara was just telling us how she she has any red wine. She's gonna be taking her top off. So,
ooh, baby.
Wouldn't
It's
give her.
trashy.
What was I gonna? Oh, so Miss Molly, are you a Huntsville native?
I'm not. I moved here in 2000.
2000. Okay, so Jennifer, when did you graduate high school?
99.
99. Okay, so that would. So did you meet James as soon as you moved here?
No, within a couple of years, we worked together.
Where at?
We worked for we worked for ITC Deltacom together.
Was it like a?
It's a telecom, mom and pop telecom company. I don't even know if they're still in business. We didn't actually start seeing each other until he left the company, but we would hang out and stuff prior to that. But we, met at work, one of the top places you meet people.
Yeah, makes sense. And so, where did you move from? Where are you originally from?
I am,
Or
I'm
you
kind
know-
of from all over. We moved around a lot as kids, but I went to high school in Andalusia, which is in Raleigh, South Alabama.
Okay. Are you a military brat?
No,
No?
my mom's just not really fond
Stable?
of sticking in
Oh,
one
okay.
place. Yeah.
Okay.
So I left college, moved out to California, started my career, then moved back because it was hella expensive.
What? California?
Right?
I thought it was cheap there.
Yeah, in 99, paying $1,500 for a 600 square foot one bedroom apartment was perfect.
What part of California were you in?
San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh, Jesus Christ, yeah.
And now think about how much that one bedroom is.
Here.
Well, no, I'm talking about in San Francisco.
Oh God.
If it was
probably like 5,000 or
1,500
6,000
in
now.
99, then, it's probably like $10,000 right now.
Probably.
No, I moved back making the same amount of money, and it was such a huge pay raise.
Yeah, I bet.
And so I moved first to Birmingham and took a contract there, hated the area, and then got a job in Huntsville because I had a lot of friends that from college that lived here.
So you said contractor. Are you an assassin, or are you?
I'm a software developer, man. I'm not sexy enough to be an assassin. Good God. I'm a dork.
Amen
Hey,
to
that would be like the perfect cover, though.
I know.
mean,
Well, I've heard the CIA doesn't hire they hire people that kind of blend in and everyone just
Yeah.
doesn't see. So you'd be perfect. Who knows? Maybe she is an assassin. So you were a software developer. You still are, right? Well, you're a manager now. if I
I'm a
remember.
software engineering manager
Yeah.
now. So I sit in meetings all day. That's
she
what I do.
fancy.
She is fancy. She's a boss lady.
I'm a good bossy bitch.
So you moved up to Huntsville in 2000?
Mm-hmm.
From Birmingham? What brought you up here? Just work?
I was looking for a job, and I had friends here, so I interviewed kind of all over this state, just wherever I could find a job, and I got offered a really good job here, and moved here.
Was it with Intergraph back in the day?
No, it was with ITC Deltacom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember everybody worked for Intergraph back then. Everybody. I met so many.
Or the SAIC.
Yeah. Either defense contractors, if you weren't a defense contractor, you were the Intergraph, because it was like the biggest IT, software game. But I think they fell on hard times and it sold off parts. And
Hexagon owns their software division now, and they still employ a good bit of people. I worked for them for a few years.
Yeah.
A few years ago.
They had spun off their printed circuit board division. They called it Very Best, and then Mentor Graphics out of Oregon bought them, and I actually got hired on with them.
Okay.
But I worked with several people that had been there forever, and they were Intergraph employees. So small town.
Very small.
So you moved up here in 2000. You met James, fell in love, and got pregnant?
We got pregnant, got married.
As you do.
If you're a good girl.
Yeah.
Well, no, we got pregnant. We had the child. She was 1.5 years, and we decided to get married. And, we were married for 10 years.
Oh, that's a good
now
little
we're
run.
really good friends. So.
Are y'all still pretty good co-parents?
Oh, yeah. I have the best ex-husband ever.
She said it over there.
Well,
Sorry.
I'm saying for the audience.
Well, I mean,
Jennifer's giving me dirty looks.
No. You were giving me a dirty look, so I was like, oh, yeah.
No, James and I have always been really good friends. We were never really in love. We were, fooling around, and I got pregnant, and, we did the responsible thing. But,
Just didn't work out.
Just didn't work out.
What's your child's name?
Caitlin.
Is she your only child?
Oh, yeah.
You didn't want another?
She was what we call a spirited child. I read across that term when she was 3. And the article I read was like, don't squash all these independent, headstrong tendencies because it will come in handy later. You've just got to survive the next 5 years. And it was true. So, no, we did not want another.
Yeah.
I will say, when she was 3 months old, James was like, let's have another. And I was like, postpartum depression, like, tired all the time. I was like, fuck no, I'm not having another kid. And then when she was like 2.5, I was like, let's have another. He's like, I can finally reason with this one. I'm not going back.
Now, when you say spirited, does that mean was she like undiagnosed ADHD or something?
Oh, yeah. And I'm pretty sure she's on the spectrum. But she's a lot like her dad. Very headstrong, knows exactly what she wants. You can't meet her head on, like, that won't work. You've got to, reason with her and convince her that she wants to do it your way, which has its own challenges. But, we let her develop those. We didn't, squash that. And now, I don't really worry about her. She's not going to let somebody influence her into doing stupid shit. Which is not to say she doesn't do stupid shit.
Yeah.
But she's leading the people doing the stupid shit. She's just not following them.
Correct.
Yep.
That sounds a bit like Wesley, but on a bad side.
Level.
Yeah.
I was very lucky in that my child is a rule follower. She hates being in trouble, and she hates breaking rules.
That's not like you or James, is it?
I was a very good girl until I met James. No, that's not true.
I was about to say, come on.
Until I went to college.
There you go.
Yeah.
I knew that wasn't true.
I was gonna say, and also, that sounds like a combination of Kalia and Wesley, because Kalia hates being in trouble. If I yell at her and she's like, "Oh, I'm in trouble now," I was like, "I just yelled at you. Calm down. You're not. I didn't take anything from you. I didn't punish you. You're not in trouble. I just yelled at you because you're doing something dumb. Calm down. You're not."
See, Caitlin, I can be like, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. And she is like, yeah.
How old is Miss Caitlin now?
18.
Woo!
She just graduated high school.
Oh my goodness.
Did.
Did they do the graduation ceremony at BBC?
Oh, yeah.
Admittedly, I'm I'm not a Texas, or I'm not a Alabama native or Huntsville native. I'm from Texas, and I went to a private school, so it was really small. But it seems like all the public schools in Huntsville and the Huntsville area do it at VBC.
Yep.
Why don't they do it at their...
Even Calhoun does it at BBC.
Do they even have ceremony spaces at their school?
Grissom had 600 graduates. The auditorium is not big enough. Huntsville High is the same. And none of the Huntsville city schools have a stadium. They have 2 or 3 shared city stadiums. Mm-hmm. So if they're having to schedule the space anyway, they just do it at the VBC. They don't have to worry about weather. Yeah, and that's true. Madison City Schools does theirs on Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 a day. And then Huntsville does theirs Thursday, Friday, 3 a day, back to back. Yep. And they just get all the graduates through. I think the county schools still do it in their stadiums and stuff.
I think some of the counties still do it at the VBC as well.
I think you're right. I think somebody was having a graduation in the concert hall while we were graduating in the arena.
Yeah. And the Calhoun does theirs there. Drake does theirs there. So it's a little bit of everything. I work where I park in that parking garage that they use for the graduates. And so you want to park and just never leave until it's time to go home.
Yeah, I imagine.
Because it is crazy. No one follows directions, of course, and they park in our spots, or they park in handicap when they're not supposed to. So then it's just.
Any event parking is kind of like Mad Max anyway. Everybody for themselves and a face off.
Especially in Huntsville when we don't have enough parking garages.
And people can't drive here. One thing I discovered when I moved to California is people in Alabama don't know how to drive.
I don't know. When I was in St. Louis, we've gone to St. Louis to go visit my cousin, and I have been amazed because I was the Alabama drivers are kind of crazy, but when I was in St. Louis, I was just people, the lights, the signs, they're just suggestions. Because I saw, we'd be waiting at a light, and someone would literally just run it. And I'm like, well, all right. And I saw it 3 times, and I'd see people in a left turn lane, they'd just turn right. I'm like, all right.
So I guess the big skill that Alabama people lack is merging. People just don't merge here. Oh, yeah. They just get over so they don't have to merge with you. And all the California interchanges are off ramp and on ramp in the same 150 feet.
And then they just kind of know what to do.
People just let you over and it's civilized and people and I was like, what?
Mm-hmm. And also, Alabamians don't know much about roundabouts. And they're just building more and more of them around us. And I'm like, why no one understands the concepts of these things?
I do like the roundabouts, though.
Huh?
I do like the roundabouts, though.
Well, I'm just saying I don't like it for the sheer fact that I don't know if someone's going to hit me. Because they don't know what they're doing.
I will say I played D&D at a guy's house in Providence, and the first 5-6 times I had to go through that roundabout there at Providence, and I was very am I going to get hit? Do these people know what they're doing? And I wasn't I know the concept of a roundabout, but I've never really gone through one, so I was high anxiety,
right.
Oh shit, am I going to survive this?
You did.
I did, and now it's just a thing.
Yeah,
now it's just a thing.
Yeah, I don't really mind the Alabama drivers. Atlanta and New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans
are the 2 places that I don't really like to drive.
Yeah, I hate driving in New Orleans.
I never drove in New York, so I don't know what that's like driving. I expect riding in cabs and Ubers and stuff, it was not fun, so I wouldn't want to drive in New York. So I feel Alabama, okay.
LA is just clogged with traffic. We went to LA for a wedding, Patrick's wedding. No, you probably don't know Patrick.
McGraw?
Yeah, you do. And LA was just dirty and smoggy, and the traffic was just massive because there's no public transportation. Everybody has a car, and you just crawl. And then we went to Malibu where their wedding was, and I was like, oh, I see why this is expensive. It's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
The air quality is wonderful. The weather is wonderful.
Yeah.
But just don't drive.
Well,
stay in your house and let people come to you.
In LA, it was with 8 billion people living there. God bless. I've always thought I visited because I had a cousin in LA and I love it, but it is the traffic situation is a bit much. Houston, I grew up in Houston, or not grew up, but I was in Austin and Houston, and those traffic situations are pretty fucking
Houston's
awful.
Houston's
pretty awful. But I think LA is the next level up from that. And I've heard Beijing and Mumbai or even worse.
Like a 20-lane highway in Beijing or something
like that.
And it like stays clogged. I'm like, that's
a bit much.
A lot.
Yeah. So let's get back to Miss Caitlin.
I'm about to say, travel podcast now.
Yeah, whatever. It's our podcast. So let's bitch about our kids. So Miss Caitlin's 18, so she was born in
2006.
Yeah. And how was that birth experience for you?
Oh, good God. So I was swelling like a motherfucker. So they induced me the day on my due date. And nothing happened. Dilated 1 centimeter. And they were like, so we're going to take you off the drip, let you eat, start all over again, which meant, another enema, all that kind of bullshit.
Enema?
Oh, yeah. They don't want you pooping when you give birth because, like, apparently the pressure.
Well, yeah, I mean, I kind of
understand. I don't think they do that anymore, but they did that then.
Oh, okay. I was like, I've never heard. Like, I've heard of women pooping themselves. It makes sense. You're pushing, but I was like, I've never heard of a woman got an enema for a pregnancy.
I mean, I got one, so whatever. Maybe I just got the special. I don't know.
Maybe your doctor liked you.
Maybe you had a gay nurse. It's like, no, honey, we're not shitting while you're giving birth.
You just wanted to go exploring.
Okay, so you got your enema.
They started me on the drip again, and
was it Pitocin?
Pitocin. And it hurt, and I would have contractions, and like my whole family was there. My mom, my dad, my brother, his wife, James's parents, my friend Jesse. Like, we had a party up in my birthing suite. And my dad would stand there, like, arms crossed, rocking back on his feet. Hey, that's a pretty big contraction. I'm like, no motherfucking shit. So they give me an epidural, and that helped. And then my doctor came in and then my water broke. And then my doctor came in at 5 and was like, well, you've dilated 2 centimeters. We probably need to do a C-section. And I was terrified. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh shit, this is going sideways. And it really wasn't, but whatever. So they take me back and they're like pumping medicine in and they keep like poking me with the scalpel. I'm like, I can feel that. And the piece of shit anesthesiologist looked at my doctor and said, she can't feel that, go ahead.
Fuck you, anesthesiologist.
And then I felt the incision, and I screamed, and they panicked. And then I woke up in recovery because they put me fully under.
Fuck that.
Oh my fucking God.
And of course,
let's get that in an anesthesiologist and get paid. Come on.
Well, so of course James doesn't know what's going on. My sister-in-law had asked to scrub in. She's a veterinarian, and she had talked my doctor into letting her behind the curtain and like not assist, but like
watch,
see all the things.
Right.
And so they're standing out there, and there's like video, and like James is getting nervous. He's like, "We haven't heard from her. Where is she? Like, what's going on?" And then all of a sudden, the nurse comes out, and they're like, "You can't come back, but I can take your video camera, and like videotape." And there's like video of the doctor swinging Caitlin by her feet and like just fucking Tarzan bullshit. And they rubbed her down and.
Oh my fucking God.
Yeah. And then I came out of recovery and the first thing the nurse says is, "So I hear you do karate." And I was like, what the fuck are y'all talking about back there?
Did you kick someone?
No. Apparently, like, the doctor almost had to cut through the abdominal wall because even though I hadn't done martial arts in like 6 months, like my abs were still super tight and didn't want to separate. Because, they don't cut because that causes trauma. It's harder to heal from. They just separate and then stitch it back together. But yeah, I was like, okay, where's my baby?
Right.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it was fun. And then, the head of anesthesiology came and, kissed our asses. And
I bet he did.
Ah, that's crazy.
Goddamn medical gaslighting bullshit.
And then, okay, so here's another story. I'm laying there on morphine, which, by the way, doesn't do shit for your pain. It just makes you not give a fuck.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here floating, in a cloud of not caring about anything. And this young nurse comes in and starts telling me about how she cut my daughter, and she's so sorry. And I was like, it's okay, she kicks a lot, it's fine. And my dad's like, what do you mean it's fine? They scarred your newborn baby. I'm like, is she bleeding out? It was just a little cut. And I'm like, she's fine. She had to have stitches. Because she was trimming the umbilical cord. And she, like, faced the knife away from Caitlin's face. And Caitlin, like, kicked her leg up. And, like, it just brushed her knee, but it was at the bend. And so they couldn't stop the bleeding, so they had to give her a little stitch. And my family's all like, oh, my God, you've ruined this perfect baby. And I'm like, that kid's been kicking my kidneys for, 6 months. Like, it's chill. It's fine.
Yeah. And it's not like they're not going to poke and prod her to get the Akbar score and get the blood out the toes and all that good stuff.
Right. Like, I was like, it's fine. It's completely fine.
I'm high. It's
I was high. I was, and then they brought her to me, and later my mom was like, you thought she was ugly, didn't you? I was like, no, it hit me that I have a baby and I have to take it home and take care of it. The shit just got real, and I was like, the fuck am I going to do with the baby? In a very high detached way, right? So,
Lord,
that's funny. I mean, sucks. I mean, I'm sorry for you and all that you went through, but that shit's funny, yeah.
It's a good story.
Hey, baby girl, you know that scar on your knee? That fucking nurse did that to you.
Right.
Does she still have a scar?
She does.
Oh, wow.
It's a very faint, like you can barely see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So how was postpartum recovery?
It was, I tried to nurse, and that didn't go super well. And then my job made me come back at 6 weeks.
Oh, Jesus
Oh, my
Christ.
God.
So, although it's not legal, they still did. They tried to make me come back at 2 weeks.
What the fuck?
Right?
Was FMLA around back then?
Yeah, but they didn't put any of this in. I mean, this was sending to SCI, so every summer they would verbally tell everybody they had to take a weekend vacation. And then the company would have record profits, and the CEO would get a $50 million, bonus. That was some shady shit.
Gotcha.
So, went to work after 6 weeks
Of having
after
your
a
innards-
C-section.
Oh, Jesus, I can't
which-
even imagine.
That in itself is trauma. Then you gotta get away. You're getting, torn away from your baby. So who watched the baby while you went to work?
And we used a daycare place down the road from the house called Mima's Place.
Okay.
And because they were cheap, because daycare's ridiculous.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say the lady that ran the baby room was amazing. And I went from like this panicked mom whose child wasn't on a schedule, like shit was chaotic. She got Caitlin on a schedule. She was sleeping at night because, she spaced out her naps during the day. Like, this lady knew what she was doing. And going from being a milk truck, which is what I felt of myself then, because I just existed to feed this child, to being like back around adults and getting a sense of self back. Like, that did help a lot. Like, I'm not really the type of person that's going to enjoy staying home with their kids. Like,
Yeah.
I would lose myself very easily. Like, I need that separate identity. So it worked out. I mean, it was fine.
Oof, I still can't believe, man. 6 weeks after giving birth, having a baby ripped out of you like that. Ugh.
Actually, my recovery was a lot better than most women who give natural birth because I didn't have the tearing or any of like the bruising down there.
Yeah, but you had your abs
Oh,
spread
but see-
and then
my
stitched.
surgeon severed that nerve.
What?
When she was stitching me up, there's a nerve down there. She severed it so I wouldn't feel the pain. So I didn't even need pain meds when I went home.
So, like on
Do
purpose?
you have the feeling back?
Mostly.
Are they supposed to do that?
I don't think it's frowned upon. She did it on purpose.
Oh.
Oh,
So I
okay.
wouldn't be in a lot of pain.
Well, I was just because I'm like, is that something that they normally do? Like sever that? I don't.
Oh. So I use
You just
my-
have like so many weird parts of this. Like I don't know what they supposed to do and what they're not. Like they're not supposed to windmill your child by their ankles. Or the anesthesiologist is not supposed to be like, oh, she can't feel that shit, and then you scream and you're out. That ain't supposed to happen. So that's what I was asking. Is that?
Well, she did it. She warned me. She's like, I did this so you wouldn't feel the pain, but like, don't go lifting heavy stuff.
Oh, okay. Well,
So,
She told you after the fact?
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I was out when she did it.
Okay.
Yeah,
She
because
did it
they
when
just
she was
knocked her
sewing
ass
up-
out.
No, I know. I'm just, this is amazing. Like, good Lord. Okay.
All right, so now from our podcast, when we have mamas on, we'll be like, did you have a C-section? Okay. Did you feel that shit? Did you have a nerve severed?
Wow.
All right, so Meemaws.
Is that on Capshaw? Where is
No,
that?
it's not there anymore.
It was
It
South
is
Parkway.
South Parkway, way near
okay.
the Hardys down there.
Oh, okay.
Because we lived in South Huntsville. So.
I thought there was I could have sworn there was one like in North Huntsville or like East or
There might be. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I
Meemaw
was-
is grandma, so yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
So she went to Meemaw's.
Yep.
We
and-
liked the baby area.
Yeah, we didn't like the toddler.
I was about to
room.
say, did we go for toddler?
We did, and I would pick her up every day, and they would say how she cried all day, and they didn't know what was wrong because they fed her and changed her, and she just kept crying. So eventually, James's mom got tired of picking her up and seeing her nose all runny and her crying, so they kept her
Okay.
for about 8 months.
That's
They would
good.
drive from Harvest down to our house every morning.
Oh, wow.
And it was great.
Yeah. Bet you saved a shit ton of money.
We paid them what we were paying them,
Oh, okay,
but
okay.
we obviously didn't pay for the level of care we were getting.
Right.
They kept her until she started running and they couldn't keep up with her.
Okay.
And then a coworker had a daughter at the Montessori school
Oh, okay.
there, and so I looked into that, and they had a young toddler room with like 6 kids and 2 teachers.
Well, that's good.
So it was expensive, but like I met the people, they all loved kids, like it was a great environment. So we went there until time for
Pre-K.
No, we went through pre-K because the pre-K program in Huntsville wasn't super huge back then.
Okay.
There was like 1 or 2 classes in South Huntsville, and they were all need-based.
Oh, wow.
So then she went to Mountain Gap for elementary school.
Is that the one up on the top of Montana? No, Mountain Gap's on like that's South
On Mountain
Parkway.
Gap Road.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I'm sorry. What is the one on top of?
That's,
There's an elementary.
That's Montesano.
Montana.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Elementary,
Yeah,
yeah.
elementary.
Just ignore me. Sorry. How is? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, James's parents. What does she call them?
Day Day, we don't know where that came from.
Okay.
It's his mom. And Papa.
Papa and Day Day.
Papa and Day Day.
Oh,
Okay.
Precious.
I bet you James let her watch some.
Anime.
No. Damn it! Friday after next with Day Day. That's where she got it from. I'm not putting it past James to let her watch.
I don't either,
Friday.
but he wouldn't
but-
have let me know about it.
Yeah, I was just being silly because there's a Day in that.
I will say that when Jennifer and I have had the luxury of having kids old enough not to have daycare, like we've had, they've been straight to school, and the most we've ever had to worry about is either after school or
Summer school.
or
summer programs.
Yeah, which is expensive unto itself, but I just can't even imagine like how expensive toddlers and babies, especially infants,
Yeah.
how expensive they are.
In 2008, we were paying $1,000 a month for her preschool.
At the Montessori, yeah.
Because there was like the fee, but school was 8:30 to 2:30, so we had to pay for before care and after care. And by the time we paid all that, it was like $1,000 a month, and Meemaw's place was $600.
Oh.
But the level of care, like I felt better about leaving her.
Yeah.
And she's also like a very curious child. She loves to learn. She's like a sponge.
So having teachers compared to having just daycare workers.
Well, yeah, and like the
helps.
whole Montessori like philosophy is let the kid do what they're interested in.
Right.
So my coworker was upset that he was paying all this money for his daughter to draw all day because that's what she wanted to do. So Caitlin was just like super curious about everything, and she would try things above what they would say her age level would be and do well at it. But she would work on something like, I can remember we had a crack in the asphalt that was like half an inch. And she was just toddling around, right? And she, like, for an hour and a half, worked until she could take that step. Like, she was intent and focused. She was going to master that. And then she never wanted to do it again. So she was like that at Montessori.
Okay.
But they were good about, like, bringing work down from the older classrooms. And so, like, we would go to the bookstore every Friday night. They had what they call Moon Pie Night, where they read them a story, they get a moon pie, and then they play with the trains, and we buy her a book or whatever. And so we're sitting there. She's like 3.5. She had just started working on phonetics with her preschool teacher. And she picks up a book and she goes, cow, look, it's a cow. Pig. and like taught herself to read.
Damn.
Wow.
3.5?
3.5.
Damn.
Did she skip any grades throughout school? No.
No, and
Wait, you told us she had dyslexia. Remember?
yes, we
Okay.
didn't find out until she was in 9th grade. She took an AP history class, and that summer before she had to read To Kill a Mockingbird, and she couldn't do it in a weekend. And I was like, this is not right, because she would go through a Harry Potter book in a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And To Kill a Mockingbird's like 200 pages.
Right, and Harry
but
Potter's
it's a
like...
much higher grade level.
Yeah.
Right? So I brought it to the attention of the school, and they were like, most kids in high school can't read To Kill a Mockingbird in a weekend. And I was like, y'all have some shitty ass standards. Like, that's a 200-page book.
All right. That, and why would you assign that to a child to do it over a weekend if most of the kids can't?
It was for her honors English class.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But,
I missed that.
so, anyway, and they were like, I mean, you can get her tested, but we won't give her accommodations because her grades are fine. We don't see anything wrong. And I was like, but it's taking her 3 times the work to get, her grades are fine. We don't care.
Yeah.
Love the school system.
So yeah, it's great. September, I scheduled her for testing in January. We finally got the testing, and she had dyslexia and ADHD. And they were like, yeah, Alabama's actually got a great dyslexia program in the schools, except it stops at 8th grade.
Oh, God.
Oh, Wesley doesn't have that program.
Is he diagnosed with dyslexia? I know he had dysgraphia, but I didn't know. Does he have dyslexia?
It was dyslexia and dysgraphia that he got diagnosed with, and then the not special education teachers, what are they called now? The
IEP.
No, the teachers that help the kids that have special things. It's not special ed anymore. It's something else.
Just say special ed. We'll all know what you're talking about.
They were like, oh yeah, okay, so he has dysgraphia and he's got dyslexia.
Oh, okay. Well, so the thing about Caitlin is at the time she was reading on a college level, but her comprehension was on a 3rd grade level, which is why Harry Potter she could read. And in 6th grade, I knew something was wrong because she couldn't read 2 paragraphs in her science book and pull out 3 facts. And I was very frustrated. I was like, I know you're smart. I know you can read. So I have a friend who has a master's in teaching elementary English. She's got her certification in dyslexia. So she worked with Caitlin and decided she had a vocabulary problem. So I worked with her on vocabulary. And then we got her diagnosed with dyslexia. And I told her, and she was like, oh my God, I should have caught that. Why didn't I catch that? It's because Caitlin didn't have any of the signs. Like, I looked at all the symptoms. She's so freaking smart. She just compensated until she couldn't anymore. And so what she has is a very common with high IQ, like kids that just teach themselves how to deal with it. And it's usually high school when they can't anymore. So the psychologist referred me to this dyslexia place out of Mobile, because most dyslexia tutoring is the Arshram, Gilliam, whatever, that teaches them to read. She didn't need that. She needed the comprehension. And the first thing the guy said, I want you to know we have a payment plan. It was $15,000 per 6-week course, and they estimated she would need 2 to 3 courses.
$45,000?
Yes.
Babe girl, you keep compensating. You figured that shit out. Let's go.
So I had talked to this friend who did her tutoring, and she's like, well, why don't you talk to this lady who does dyslexia tutoring? I think she's, trained in all of them. And I talked to her, and she was trained in this particular method. And she charged us $60 per 45-minute session twice a week for a year and a half, which was a hell of a lot cheaper than $45,000.
Yeah.
That is some bullshit.
And not having to go to Mobile.
Well, it would have been online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
$15,000 for an online? That's some fucking shit.
Yes.
Person to
That
person.
is a scam. I was like, you better be wiping my child's ass for $15,000.
So,
Damn.
Feeding her caviar while she's reading.
Shit.
right.
Like, teach her to
she's
sip
on grade
wine.
level. She's doing fine.
That's
Like,
great.
she got a scholarship. She got a merit scholarship to Montevallo. So
Awesome.
Like, huge success story. But there was a while she was not going to college. She, like, 'cause school was hard.
Yeah.
How was middle school for her?
It was okay. She went to the Academy for Gifted and Talented out at Williams.
Oh, yeah. I have my little brother's
I
cousin
wanted
with
her
there.
to go there, not for the academics. Like, yeah, she's smart, whatever. But at the time, we had been rezoned for Challenger, and I talked to a couple moms who had kind of weird, geeky kids. And there's a lot of, like, mean girls at Challenger. Like, it's a real problem with that zoning demographic, and their daughters had gotten bullied really, really bad.
Gotcha.
And so I just wanted her to be around a bunch of weird, geeky kids.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, makes sense.
I'm surprised she didn't go to AAA.
We did apply there for elementary, but...
Well, you can do they do middle too? Because, like, ASFL does?
Yeah. So, by the time we got to middle, she was more interested in, like, AGT.
Oh, okay.
We did apply for kindergarten, but I had to be at work at 7, so James was going to be responsible for taking her to school. Mm-hmm. And loved James, but he was not waking up 20 minutes early to get her all the way out to AAA.
Yeah, that's
true. He was. By the time we got to middle school, like, he did drive her out to AGT every morning.
Did it open later?
No, it was open at 8, but he could cut through the Arsenal, so it wasn't really...
I gotcha.
Like, and he worked on that end of the Arsenal.
I gotcha.
So it did add, like, 15 minutes to his drive, but by then he was willing to do it. Because he could see, like, how much better it would be for her, right? Yeah. But when she was in kindergarten, he's like, she can... Mountain Gap was a really good elementary school. He was like, I don't see the need to, you know.
Well, I just thought AAA, which is the academic for arts and... Academics, which is...
The academy.
The academy, sorry, that's what it is. But it's very about the arts, too, so I thought
so
because...
she hadn't gotten into theater at that point.
Was it in high school?
It was, so middle school, she was doing figure skating.
Oh.
And we needed day camps. And one of her figure skating friends that we were friends with, they were doing fantasy camps. Uh-huh. And a couple days a week, they both had figure skating after. So we would do the fantasy camps with them and then carpool the kids.
Okay.
Like trade off who went and picked them up from,
That's nice.
fantasy and took them to figure skating. And Caitlin really loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she just absolutely loved fantasy. And we did that up until her 10th grade year.
Did she do were they camps at Fantasy Playhouse?
Uh-huh. Well, they were at Bob Jones.
Oh, okay. Because Kalia's been interested in doing some of those, but they're kind of expensive.
They are. We would drop about $1,600 per year on her summer camps.
Yeah, you're a much nicer parent than I am.
We saved up all year
to
be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because we had her at the Y for a while. And, like, it's cheap, but...
Boys and Girls Club.
Well, okay. At the time for us, the Y was the cheapest. It was like $100, $110 a week.
Yeah.
Because we were members at the Y.
Why like that now?
It's like $145, $150 now, isn't it?
Well, we were also members of the Y, so we get a discount. Yeah. But there were like 300 kids and like 8 teachers. Like, it was just a free-for-all.
Yeah.
And yet the lady that ran it, like, she wielded an iron fist and she yelled and Caitlin didn't like her. So, James and I both have good jobs. So we were like, okay, we can, she liked the fantasy camps better.
Yeah. I'm just cheap. That's why I haven't done it for Clea. Because I'm just like... Ugh.
My son will just get kicked out of it, so...
Yeah. I also don't think he'd appreciate it or even want to do it.
No.
So, but, I don't know.
Well, I'm glad that you guys did that, because I love theater.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did she do it in high school, though?
So, her 8th grade year is when the shutdown happened. And then 9th grade year, the first half was virtual. Mm-hmm. And then she didn't want to go back to the school.
What high school would she be going
Grissom.
to? Grissom, okay.
Except she had gotten accepted to the dance program at Lee. So she did Lee 9th grade. Then we transferred to Grissom for 10th grade. But she still wanted to do virtual.
Oh, wow.
And then her grades got really bad. So they made her go back in person.
Yeah.
Which was great.
Back to Grissom?
She was back to Grissom. Okay. She thought she had gained a lot of weight during the pandemic, and she thought she was going to be teased. It was going to be awful. High school kids today are not what high school kids were when we were kids. Like, they all do it on social media now. Yeah, but like they're all like, life sucks, girl. Go do whatever.
Yeah.
At some point, I won't say there's no bullying, but it's not. It's not the you've got to be skinny and fit in thing that it was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So anyway, she went back. She didn't do the musical that year, but 11th grade she was in the musical, and she was pretty good. You know, she's a kid that can pick up anything. She had a pretty voice. You know,
she sang.
She was still reciting lines. You know, like she wasn't really acting. Mm-hmm. And they started rehearsal in early January, and between the beginning of that, she was in a Young Actors Teen Conservatory at Fantasy that year. Between the beginning of that month and when she auditioned for their musical at the end of the month, her voice went from pretty good to phenomenal.
Wow.
She like blossomed over. It's like she always had this talent. She didn't have the confidence. Uh-huh. And like that constant vocal practice like just elevated her voice.
Nice.
And the one teacher was her, Aunt Fantasy was her voice coach, and the other teacher was like, what have you been doing with Caitlin? She's like, it just happened. Huh. So she got a lead in Into the Woods.
Aww.
Was she
11th grade.
The witch or the
10th grade?
10th grade.
That was the end of 10th grade.
Okay.
And then no, this was 11th grade, and so she was in the ensemble that year. So then 12th grade she tried out. They did Cinderella this year. Oh. And she was Charlotte, the mean stepsister.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought. That was the mean stepsister.
And I thought this, but everybody else told me she was the star of the show. She was fucking amazing.
Aww.
Her voice is incredible. Her acting, and she's like a comedic actress anyway. Her delivery was just like on point. Like everybody was like, and like little kids would come up to her, oh yeah. Like everybody, like the people from Broadway Theater League came and told her theater teacher that she was incredible, and she like made the show.
Oh damn, that's like, some good praise right there.
That's awesome.
So like I was just like, because when she told me in 10th grade that she wanted to major in theater, I was like, okay honey, but we're gonna major in business or something too. You know,
you have a minor in theater and a major in business, then we're good at we're talking.
Major, it's fine.
Oh, okay.
You know, like I want you to follow your dreams, but I don't want to support you the rest of your life.
And I want you to have a backup.
Because, like I said, she was reasonably good, but I didn't think she'd ever make it in theater. She didn't have
the
that
confidence.
Thing. She didn't have the talent at the time. I didn't think.
I mean, frankly, even kids who make it in theater, like, theater actors don't make a ton of money.
No, they don't.
Like, movie actors, if they're super successful, make a lot of money, but even just working movie actors are not making that much money, so...
Yeah, so I've told her whole life, don't major in liberal arts and don't be a teacher. Mm-hmm. Like, I love teachers. Teaching is a fabulous profession.
They just don't get paid.
But unless you're passionate about it, it will grind you down and wear you out.
Yep.
And so she came to me. She had taught classes at Fantasy last summer with summer camp. She was a counselor.
Oh, nice.
And so she came to me last fall and she's like, Mom, I know you're really disappointed in me, but I want to be a theater teacher when I grow up.
Oh.
And I felt so bad because I had hammered that into her and made her feel like I wasn't going to support her. Mm-hmm. I was like, baby, if that's where your passion is, go for it. I just didn't want you to do that as a default.
Right.
Right? Like...
I think I could do it. You know that she did. That she was like, okay,
right.
I think I can do this. But if she really, really wants to, and she's passionate about it, then follow your dreams, baby girl.
Yeah. So she's majoring in theater. She's in the BFA program. She's not doing a double major. Okay. I told her if she wants to move to New York or Chicago, I'm not going to support her.
Yep.
But I'll help her. I'll give her money. You know, so she doesn't have to live in the shittiest apartment in New York City with all the rats. Just a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you can touch your bed and your toilet just together. You sit down in the middle of the room and then there's everything.
She's fancy pants. Should think this lady's going to have her own toilet. She's going to have a shared toilet with 10 other people.
But with Mama's help on the money, she gets to have their toilet.
Right.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. No.
So, who knows what she'll do, but, you know.
Well, I'm excited for her.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's
going
really
off to Montevallo.
Now, where's Montevallo?
Down.
Outside of Birmingham.
Yeah.
South of Birmingham?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You don't ask me south,
like,
north.
You know where Alabaster is? It's a little, like, either east or west. I can't remember.
He doesn't know where Alabaster is.
south of Birmingham, basically.
Okay. I kind of know, like, I know Homewood is south.
Yeah, this is even more south. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm still learning. I don't know much below Huntsville, so
I don't talk about north. I just say, oh, Montevallo, yeah, nice, because that was everybody in my theater. Because I did theater in junior and senior year.
Okay.
Because I was that kid that could just kind of get along with everybody, but I didn't have my people in high school. So, like 9th grade, it was, okay, we'll hang out with these guys and move over here at lunch and just kind of not have my place. And then I found theater in 11th grade. And then still didn't want to go on stage because I want to be behind the scenes. Don't look at me. Don't hear me. Don't
still extends
see
the day.
me. I
doesn't even want to do videos for the podcast.
I hate my voice. I hate the way I look. I just And then senior year, our big production, I get named stage manager, and I'm like, fuck yes. And then I end up having to be on stage. So you don't always get what you want, but I fell in love with theater. I've always been a theater nerd, like musicals, love them, sing them in the car, shower, that kind of thing. That's where it stays. But I'm happy that she's doing theater.
Yeah, I love music. I love singing. I have the worst voice ever. Like, I have a really good ear. Like, James, Caitlin, and I took cello and violin lessons for a while.
Wow.
They did cello and I did violin, and the teacher was like, oh my God, you've got a really good ear. Like, you can, like, self-tune. And I was like, yeah, like, I have a good ear. I know exactly how poorly I'm singing.
Oh, I have a horrible ear, so I sound like whoever I'm singing. If it's the man part, the woman part, the kid part, I sound like them all, and I am wonderful. I know I'm not, but I sound that way in my head.
So James's mom's family are all very musical. Like, she is one of 6, and they all sing and play guitar and are very musical. Mm-hmm. So she gets her talent from his family.
I got you.
I actually my major in college was computer science, but my minor was theater because I was like, I needed some creative outlet because having a math minor was like, I was just like, fuck, this is killing me. But I will say, I was always too scared of the artist lifestyle to ever do anything with it because it is not. I was like, I'm used to a regular paycheck. I'm used to a kind of like upper middle class family. I'm like, I don't want to be poor. So the idea of being an actor, I was just like, that sounds like fun, but I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Caitlin does after college when she's on her own, not making much money, because both of her parents are engineers.
Right.
She is pretty spoiled.
She's South Parkway.
She
says it all.
She's never said, can we go get sushi, and been told, no, sorry, we don't have the money. Like, that's never a thing. She's, like, even that, like, she's never, like, it's just not something that, you know. So she's not spoiled. I mean, she's spoiled. She's not a brat. Yeah. Like, she buys her clothes at the thrift store. She doesn't like to spend a ton of money. Like, she's very good with money. She's not entitled. But she also has never been in the position to see her parents have to make the decision of paying the power bill or feeding the family. Like, that's not something. And I grew up like that, you know. So, like, and it's probably why I'm a little more indulgent with her than I should be.
No. I mean, you know, that the way you grew up, you didn't want her to be like that. So that makes sense. But the way that also she grew up and her being thrifty, that's really good. I think you did very well parenting in that. You know, that part.
It was a team effort.
I'm sure.
So, well, you talked about the co-parenting. Like, do you and James still live close to each other?
Yeah, we live about 3 miles apart.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's Caitlin just have, like, stuff in each place and sleep wherever she wants, or
she's always been 1 week with him, 1 week with me, and she does that now, even though we told her if she wanted to pick a place to live, like, that would be fine. Yeah. But she doesn't ever want either of us to feel like she doesn't want to be with us. Aww. Like, she's very, like, if it's my night, but like one night they had gone somewhere, they got home late, she had to go by his house, and she was just exhausted. And she was like so apologetic the next day. Mom, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean to like make you feel. I was like, it's fine. You were tired. Stay there. It's fine. Like, you're never here anyway, so it doesn't really matter where you sleep.
Right.
But she just is very, like, she's super sensitive, and she doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and so she doesn't want to pick a parent to live with.
Oh, that's sweet of her.
That is very sweet.
So even, like, when she comes home from college, she said she's still going to switch. And I'm like, that's kind of ridiculous. You can go live with your dad. I know you want to. That's fine. And she's like, no, I'll still come see you. And I'm like, well, whatever. It's fine.
When do y'all move her down?
She moves down August 17th.
Wow.
Is she going to be in the dorm?
She is. We just got her dorm assignment this week.
I know it's not a universal experience, but college was the most fun I ever had in education. Undergrad was the most fun I ever had at an educational institution. I loved it. My dorm experience was wonderful. I still talk to a handful of the people from those dorms. It was great. So, and Jennifer never got to experience it, but I'd imagine she would have enjoyed it too.
Yeah, we talked about even if she went to UAH, because there was a while we didn't think she'd move off because she has never sought independence. Like, she still has never spent a night alone. And it's just been this year that she'll get home before me, like if I've got something, and stay at home for more than a couple hours at night by herself.
Wow.
Like, she's just never reached for independence. So we thought for a while she was going to go to UAH, and James and I both discussed that we would make her live in the dorm, even if she didn't want to, because she needed that experience.
Right. She needs to learn how to live on her own.
But, the last year and a half, she's definitely started, like, cutting the apron strings and, being independent and going off. And
Well,
so
that's
she's
good.
looking forward to going to school.
That's great, because I think I'm sure for men too, but I think every woman needs to live alone.
Yes.
With no partner. Now, you can have roommates, but no partner.
Yeah.
Because there are so many women who, he was my high school boyfriend and we got married, and then, but then now I have him, because they don't know and they can't live without someone being there.
Yeah.
I'm too independent for my own good, so I love being single. But there's a lot of people who need that codependency, like they just need somebody to be there. So I think everybody should.
Yeah, I think it's important for boys to live alone too, just because, especially if they've
learn how dirty their asses are.
Oh, yeah.
God, they're so fucking dirty.
Well, especially if they've had a mother who, like, if they've had a stay-at-home mom who's like taken care of their laundry and done everything, kept the house clean, they may not be used to taking care of themselves. And if they move straight into with a woman who's wanting that or is gonna do that, they're, it's like, ooh, you're gonna be in trouble, because very few women nowadays want to take care of another child, especially a full-ass grown one.
Yep.
You'd be surprised how many women will put up with it, though.
I know there's a big percentage of them that want it, but I've seen the TikToks, and I see a whole lot of like divorce attorneys talking about how women are sick of having to take care of a grown child, basically. And I've known one of my friends, Amanda. She's like, you were a grown man, you took care of yourself. I'm not. If we're gonna have a clean house, we're doing this together. So their house was filthy, because she's like, I am not gonna clean up after you, and so their house was disgusting. So she took a stand. It's like, my
stand would have been deuces.
Yeah, I was like,
my
not a stand I would have
apartment's
taken.
down the street, and when you clean the house, I might come back, I might not.
Yeah.
But I'm very independent, so
you are.
I don't need no man.
Are you? How are you feeling about being an empty nester?
So I have very intentionally started leaving the house and getting a social life. It's part of like volunteering at Shenanigans, getting involved with weird kids. Like I'm conscious of the fact that my child was the center of my universe for 16 years. And that if I didn't fix that before she went off to college, I would either be super depressed or stalking her.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be that mom. I'm worried about James, actually, because he never leaves the house. and he is going to miss her like crazy.
Aww.
They're a lot closer than she and I are, and he's like already dreading not seeing her. Like, when we first got divorced, we each had her for a week, but neither of us wanted to go a whole week without seeing her. So Tuesday nights, I always have her. Wednesday nights, he always has her. So when it's my week, she goes over there on Wednesday, and when it's his week, she comes to my house on Tuesday.
Right.
So he's never gone more than 4 days without seeing her.
Oh, wow.
And you know he's kind of sensitive.
Oh, he's very
soft-hearted.
sensitive. I love him. He's a big old teddy bear.
He is, and I'm so worried. Like,
would he do shenanigans?
I've invited him to come do stuff, and he's like, no, I just want to sit at home.
Maybe I need to message him and have a J-Mo's night.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
So in August. Okay.
All right. Well, I think we're at about an hour now. So
I mean, she done graduated and gone to college, so yeah.
You're about to empty nester. So
Yeah.
I guess we'll do our transition out then. So for all our 14 listeners, thank you for listening to another episode of it. Nope.
Wait, you
I
were
just skipped the
Why
hell
are you
over.
skipping
I
everything?
apologize. I sure did. Sorry about
So
that.
we had our Lambic,
Yeah,
then
we
you
talked
went,
to Miss Mollie,
Yeah, Miss Mollie.
and now we got a snack time.
Yep.
What did we snack on, Miss Jennifer?
You went and got us some Pretzel Makers soft pretzels.
Yeah.
And I had the pizza sauce and the cheddar cheese. The cheddar cheese was the nacho cheese was really good. I liked it better than the
what'd
pizza.
I have the nacho cheese.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. The pizza sauce was okay. But, so then it's our story time. I reminded you in the beginning to think of one really, really good story because you had a lot during the podcast. But what's the best story about you or Caitlin?
So you mentioned poop stories.
Always poop. Everyone loves poop. Or poop stories.
So when she was real little, I would get her ready for preschool and get her to preschool. And I always put her like in a bouncy seat, or like at this point she was more active, so I put her in this standalone jumperoo.
Okay.
And she was a little fussy, and I couldn't really figure out why, but she was okay. I put her in that and like turned on Baby Einsteins and went into the shower and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I came back and I was like, what? She was happy as a clam jumping in her own shit. It was up her back, in her hair, sprayed the wall, all over the carpet. And I guess she had just been like, her tummy had been really upset, and that's why she was fussy. And she was happy as could be. And every time she jumped, just more poop would just splash out. And she was just like, yay, I feel so good.
My tummy feels better. That is
That's
hilarious.
So nasty.
I love it.
So I was like, thankfully we have one of those detachable shower, heads. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
just took her in there and stripped her down like
Oh,
straight.
so nasty.
Told James he had to clean up the carpet and the wall.
Right?
before he went to
I
work.
got the baby, you get the rest.
Well, he was
That's
still
funny.
asleep. So at this time, he would sleep in the morning, and then he would take the night shift with her.
Okay.
So it was fine. But, like, I woke him up, I'm like, you gotta clean up poop before you go to work.
Yeah.
He was like, what?
Oh, that's so nasty.
What a way to wake up.
Right away. Yeah, we had our younger two granddaughters over a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, "Oh, we gotta change diapers. Zane, would you change the diaper?" And so he handed me a dirty diaper, and I went off, and I think he thought I was still in the room, and we didn't put a towel down. She just started pissing. Was it piss or poop, babe?
Piss.
Yeah, she started pissing. So I come back, and he's like, stripped the bed. I'm like, "What happened?" And he's like, "Oh, she pissed all over the bed." I'm like, "Oh." Fucking kids, they're so nasty.
But they don't, when they're babies, they don't
I know, but it's still gross.
It is.
It's like little poop.
Poop and pee factories.
No, what super soakers of poop. All right, now it's
You
our
can
outro.
say your-
God bless. I don't know what's wrong with me today. Okay, so for all 14 listeners, hi Benjamin and hi Mom. Thanks for listening to another episode of A Guide to Poor Parenting.
If you have any funny stories about your kids, or if you need some bad parenting advice, or have any ideas for topics,
Please email us at guidetopoorparenting@gmail.com.
if you like our podcast, please give us a 5-star rating on whatever platform you're listening on.
And if you don't like our podcast, just like when our kids wonder why they can't have any electronics, even though they got kicked out of their after-school program for fighting,
Tough shit.
go outside and play.
No, don't. Stay in your fucking room.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Mollie.
Bye, thank you.